Welcome to SPR IAS Academy Civil Services Coaching Program. In our Indian Polity lecture, we are discussing about the Parliament of India. So far, we have covered the introduction part of Parliament of India. Later, we have discussed about Lok Sabha and then Rajya Sabha, and then we have covered about the presiding officers. That is, we have discussed about Speaker. And now, in this video lecture, we are going to discuss about Deputy Speaker, Chairman and Deputy Chairman. Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker is the presiding officer of Lok Sabha in the absence of Speaker. The Article 93 of Constitution of India has provided certain measures for the election of Speaker and Deputy Speaker. The Article 93 states that the House of People shall as soon as may be choose two members of the House to be respectively Speaker and Deputy Speaker. That is, it states that on the first sitting of the Lok Sabha, the members among themselves choose a person as a speaker, after which the speaker fixes the day for election to the deputy speaker. This is how the deputy speaker is elected in the lower house of the parliament, after which both speaker as well as deputy speaker do not subscribe any kind of oath or affirmation for assuming the office of speaker as well as deputy speaker. And whenever the position of speaker or deputy speaker is felt vacant in the Lok Sabha, then the members of the house automatically choose another new person to the office of speaker or deputy speaker as the case may be. And the deputy speaker remains in office till the life of house. That is, whenever the Lok Sabha gets dissolved, the office of deputy speaker is also automatically become vacant. The removal procedure of Deputy Speaker is provided in Article 94 of Constitution of India. The Article 94 has provided three cases under which the Deputy Speaker have to vacate his office. The cases are: number 1, if he ceases to be a member of Lok Sabha, then he automatically disqualified to be a Deputy Speaker. And the case number 2 is if he writes his resignation letter to the Speaker of Lok Sabha. And in that circumstances, the deputy speaker have to vacate his office. And the third case for removal of deputy speaker is by passing a resolution with majority of all the members of the Lok Sabha. Here you have to note down that such kind of resolution for removal of deputy speaker cannot be passed unless it is given 14 days of prior notice. And whenever the consideration of resolution for removal of deputy speaker is in the house, the deputy speaker cannot be able to preside the house, even though he can present in the house and take part in its proceedings. Powers and functions of deputy speaker. The deputy speaker acts as a speaker whenever the speaker's position is vacant or whenever the speaker is absent to the sitting of house. Also, the deputy speaker presides over the joint sitting of both the houses of parliament in case the speaker is absent for such kind of joint sittings. Deputy speaker. The name deputy speaker doesn't mean that he is subordinate to the speaker. Instead, the deputy speaker is directly responsible to the lower house of the Parliament of India. It is one of the important preliminary point. Do note it down. Deputy Speaker is not a subordinate to the Speaker. The Deputy Speaker also has a privilege, that is, whenever the Deputy Speaker is appointed as a member in any parliamentary committee, then he automatically becomes its chairman. It is one of the privilege which Deputy Speaker enjoys in the lower house of the Parliament. To maintain the impartiality of the position of Speaker, while Deputy Speaker acts as a Speaker, he cannot vote on the first instance of the voting process. Instead, the deputy speaker can vote in the cases of a tie. Such kind of voting is what known as casting of vote. Also, the salary and allowances of deputy speaker is fixed by the parliament and it is received or charged from the Consolidated Fund of India. Charging from Consolidated Fund of India means the parliament need not be supposed to vote on this account on every year by year basis. So it will maintain the impartiality of the position of deputy speaker. Deputy speaker enjoys all those powers only when the speaker's position is vacant or speaker is absent for the sitting. But in general scenario, whenever the speaker presides over the house, the deputy speaker is like any other ordinary member of the lower house of parliament. He doesn't have that much power as the speaker has in general days. Panel of chairpersons. According to the rules and procedures of Lok Sabha, the speaker is provided with certain powers, according which the speaker can nominate about 10 persons from the house of Lok Sabha as a panel of chairpersons. Whenever both the speaker and deputy speaker is absent for a sitting of Lok Sabha, in such cases, any of the members of panel of chairperson can preside over the Lok Sabha. While presiding the Lok Sabha, the panel chairperson has all the powers and privileges of the speaker. The panel of chairperson holds the office until a new panel of chairperson is nominated by speaker. One important point you have to note down regarding panel of chairpersons, that is, only when the speaker and deputy speaker, both of them were absent for a sitting, any member of panel of chairperson can preside over the house. But whenever both the position or office of speaker and deputy speaker were vacant, the panel of chairperson members were not eligible to be preside over the house. In such cases, the President of India nominate any one member from the Lok Sabha to preside over the house, after which the election for position of speaker is conducted. After selecting the speaker fixes the day for selection of deputy speaker, and this is the procedure. Whenever the position of speaker and deputy speaker is vacant, the panel of chairperson is not eligible to preside over the house. It is important point, do note it down. Speaker pro tem. We know that the speaker of Lok Sabha vacates his office immediately before the first meeting of the newly elected Lok Sabha, and in such cases, the President of India appoints a member among the Lok Sabha, that is a newly elected Lok Sabha, as a pro tem speaker. Usually the consensus or the customary procedure is selecting the senior most person among the newly elected Lok Sabha as a speaker pro tem. The President of India himself administers the oath of affirmation to the speaker pro tem, after which the speaker pro tem presides over the first meeting of Lok Sabha. The speaker pro tem has all the powers and privileges of the speaker of Lok Sabha. The main duty of speaker pro tem is to administer the oath and affirmation of the newly elected members of Lok Sabha. Also, the speaker pro tem fixes the time for selection of speaker of the house. Once the speaker is selected in the lower house, the speaker pro tem position is automatically dissolved. Thereby, the position of speaker pro tem is only a temporary position in the Lok Sabha. So far we have discussed about the presiding officers of Lok Sabha. That is, we have discussed about speaker, deputy speaker, panel of chairpersons, and then we have discussed about speaker pro tem. And now we are going to see about the presiding officers of Rajya Sabha. That is, we are going to see about chairman, deputy chairman, and then the panel of vice chairpersons. First, let us see about the chairman. The Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. The Vice President of India is elected by an electoral college, and we will discuss about the election process of Vice President in a different video session. And then, as a chairman of Rajya Sabha, the preliminary duty for Vice President of India is to conduct the proceedings of the House. And then, similar to Speaker, the chairman also cannot be able to vote on the first instance of the voting process. But whenever there is a tie in the case of voting, the chairman can poll his vote, and such kind of voting is known as casting of vote. And then, similar to Speaker, the salary and allowances of chairman is also fixed in Parliament, and it is charged on the Consolidated Fund of India, which means this salary and allowances amount need not to be present to the Parliament and voted every year. And then one of the important point is, unlike the Speaker, the chairman is not depending upon any single political party. because since he is a Vice President of India, he is not supposed to belongs to any political party. So it is a difference between chairman and speaker. Whenever the situation arises for Vice President of India to act as a President of India, or whenever he performs the duties of President, he does not perform the duty of chairman, and hence the salary and allowances which is allocated for him as a chairman is not payable to him. Instead, he is paid the salary and allowances of President during such times. You have to note down that in the absence of Vice President, the chairman duty is performed by the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Removal procedure of Chairman of Rajya Sabha. The Chairman of a Rajya Sabha cannot be removed unless he is removed from the office of Vice President of India. And whenever such a resolution for removal of Vice President is in consideration of the House, he cannot preside over the sitting of Rajya Sabha, and then he can present in the House and speak and take part in proceedings, but still he cannot be able to vote. Since he is not a member of House, he is not eligible to take part in a voting process. But the same scenario when it happens to the speaker is eligible to vote in the first instance, but that privilege is not available to the chairman. As a presiding officer of Rajya Sabha, the chairman enjoys all the powers and privileges similar to the powers and privileges of the speaker in Lok Sabha. But there were some powers which speaker enjoys and chairman does not have it. They were: number 1, whenever there is a bill is passed in the House, the speaker is the authorized person to decide whether that bill belongs to a money bill or not. But this provision is not available to the chairman. Similarly, the speaker's decision on a bill, whether a money bill or not, is a final and it cannot be questioned anywhere. After which, whenever there is a joint sitting of two houses of parliament, only the speaker of Lok Sabha presides over it. The chairman has no power to preside over the joint sitting of two houses of parliament. It is also one of the important powers which the speaker has, but chairman doesn't. And then, whenever there is a resolution for removal of presiding officer is carried out, the speaker can take part in proceedings and also vote in the first instance itself. But in the similar scenario in Rajya Sabha, the chairman, even though can take part in the proceedings, but he is not eligible to vote in the process. The reason being, the speaker is a member of lower house, that is Lok Sabha, whereas the chairman is not a member of Rajya Sabha, and hence speaker has provision to vote, whereas the chairman cannot be able to take part in the voting process. So far we have discussed about the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Now let us see about deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha is the person who presides over the Rajya Sabha in the absence of chairman. We know that the Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Similarly, the deputy chairman is elected by the members of the Rajya Sabha itself. That is, the election of deputy chairman is almost similar to the election of speaker and deputy speaker in the Lok Sabha. And whenever the office of deputy chairman is vacant, then a new deputy chairman is elected among the members of Rajya Sabha, and by this way the alternative deputy chairman is continuously elected to act as a chairman in the absence of Vice President of India. The deputy chairman remains in his office during his tenure of 6 years, but he has to remove or vacate his office on following circumstances. The first circumstance being he ceases to be a member of Rajya Sabha, that is, his term has come to an end, and in such cases the deputy chairman is disqualified from being in office, so he has to vacate. And then if deputy chairman has written his resignation letter to the chairman, by that circumstance he has to vacate his office. The third circumstances for removing deputy chairman from his office is by passing a resolution by a majority of all the members of the Rajya Sabha. But you have to note down that such kind of resolution cannot be passed without giving 14 days of prior notice to the Deputy Chairman. And whenever the resolution for removal of Deputy Chairman is under consideration of Rajya Sabha, he cannot preside over the sitting of the House, but he may be present in the House and participate in the voting process, being he also a member of Rajya Sabha. Powers and duties of Deputy Chairman. Whenever the Chairman office is vacant or whenever the Chairman is absent for sitting of a House, then the Deputy Chairman is the person who presides over the House and conduct the business of Rajya Sabha. Also, whenever the Vice President of India acts as a President or he discharges the duties and functions of President, he cannot be able to perform the duty of Chairman. So, in such scenarios, the Deputy Chairman is the authorized person to perform the duty of Chairman. In all these scenarios, the Deputy Chairman enjoys all the powers and privileges of Chairman. The name Deputy Chairman does not mean that he is subordinate to the Chairman. Instead, he is directly responsible to the Rajya Sabha. And then, being the presiding officer of Rajya Sabha or while he acts as a presiding officer of Rajya Sabha, the Deputy Chairman cannot be able to participate in the voting at the first instance, but he can vote only when there is a case of a tie, and in such cases the voting which is done by him is known as casting of vote. And the salary and allowances of Deputy Chairman is fixed by the Parliament and charged on the Consolidated Fund of India, and hence it is not subject to vote on account every year. Deputy Chairman enjoys all those powers and privileges only when the Chairman is absent for sitting or when the office of Chairman is vacant. But in general scenario, he don't have that much power when Chairman presides over the House. When Chairman presides over the House, the Deputy Chairman is just like any other ordinary member of the Rajya Sabha. And being an ordinary member of Rajya Sabha, the Deputy Chairman can speak in the House, participate in the proceedings, and even he can vote in the first instance of the voting process also. But while Deputy Chairman acts as a Chairman of Rajya Sabha, he cannot be able to vote in the first instance. So whenever the Chairman presides over the House, the Deputy Chairman is just like any other ordinary member of the Rajya Sabha. So far we have discussed about the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Now we will see about panel of Vice Chairpersons. The rules and procedures of Rajya Sabha has provided certain powers to the Chairman of Rajya Sabha, according which the Chairman has power to nominate 6 members from members of Rajya Sabha to a panel of Vice Chairpersons. And in the absence of both the Chairman as well as Deputy Chairman, any member from this panel of Vice Chairperson can preside over the House of Rajya Sabha. And while presiding over the House of Rajya Sabha, that person has all the powers and privileges enjoyed by Chairman in general scenarios. Member of panel of Vice Chairperson while presiding over the Rajya Sabha is entitled to all the salary and allowances of Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Also, this panel of Vice Chairpersons hold their office until a new panel is appointed or nominated by the Chairman. Whenever there is a scenario which occurs in such way that all the Chairman, Deputy Chairman and 6 Vice Chairpersons were also not available or not present to the sitting of the House, in such case any other member elected by the Rajya Sabha acts as a Chairman. Here one important point you have to note down, that the member of panel of Vice Chairperson can preside over the Rajya Sabha only when the Chairman and Deputy Chairman were absent. But whenever the Chairman and Deputy Chairman office is vacant, then in such scenarios the panel of Vice Chairperson members has no provision to preside over the House. That is, they cannot preside over the House when the office is vacant. During such a scenario, the President of India appoints a member among the Rajya Sabha as a person to perform the duties of chairman, and sooner a permanent deputy chairman is appointed among the Rajya Sabha members. So far, we have seen about the presiding officers of Rajya Sabha. Now let us see about Secretariat of Parliament. Actually, apart from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the Secretariat is the another department which is present in the Parliament of India and which is very much useful for the smooth functioning of the procedures of the House. Accordingly, both the houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, have their own separate secretarial staffs. But still some of the posts which were assigned for a secretarial staff were common to both the houses. Their recruitment and service conditions of secretariat staff were maintained and regulated by the Parliament of India itself. The Secretariat of Parliament is headed by the Secretary General and who is appointed by the Parliament. Generally, the Secretary General is appointed by Chairman in the case of Rajya Sabha and he is appointed by Speaker in the case of Lok Sabha. Secretary General holds the rank equivalent to the highest civil servant. The highest civil servant in the sense the rank of Secretary General is equal to the rank of Cabinet Secretary. Secretary General used to provide help to the parliamentarians. Secretary General assists the presiding officer, that is both Chairman and Speaker, by providing them with settling points of procedure with a detached advice. And then the Secretary General also provide a expert advice on the contentious issues to the presiding officer. Even though the Secretary General is the witness to the proceedings of the House, he does not participate in any of the House. That is, he don't participate in both the Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, but he is the witness of the proceedings of the House. The only occasion in which the Secretary General participates in the House is when he submits the report or messages from the other House about bills or any other matter of public interest. Secretary General is the custodian of records of houses. That is, Secretary General is the custodian of records for Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Also, all the notices under the rules are required to be addressed by Secretary General. After which, Secretary General is the person who issues the list of business of the House for the particular day. These were some of the powers and functions of Secretary General. And that is what all about Secretary General. Let us take a quick review on what we have learned so far. Initially, we have learned about Deputy Speaker. About Deputy Speaker, we seen how he got elected. Then we have seen how he got vacated or removal procedure of Deputy Speaker. Then we have seen the powers and functions of Deputy Speaker. After which, we have seen about the panel of chairpersons. And in this panel of chairperson, we have seen the conditions on which the panel of chairperson member acts as a speaker and the condition he is not eligible to act as a speaker likewise. Then we have seen about the speaker of pro tem. After which we have seen about the presiding officers of Rajya Sabha. That is, we have seen about chairman, that is Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. After which we have seen about deputy chairman. We have seen about the election procedure of chairman and deputy chairman, removal procedure of both of them. Then we have seen about the powers and functions of both the chairman and deputy chairman. After which we have seen about the panel of vice chairpersons. After completing the panel of vice chairpersons, we have seen about the Secretariat of Parliament of India. Then we have seen about the Secretary General, because Secretary General is the head of Secretariat of Parliament. And that is what all about today's session. All the best for your examinations. Keep visiting www.comeonindia.com. Thank you.